So a lot of interesting things happened today above our heads. Pure coincidence, cosmic coincidence. Let's get the thoughts of our resident science expert, Bob McDonald, the Quirks and Quarks host, joins us from Victoria. Unbelievable, Bob, that these two things happen on the same day, unrelated. It's just mind-blowing. Let's first, though, talk about the asteroid, because that's the most recent event. It's going to be busy. That happened about an hour ago. What's so special about asteroid 2012 D14?
Well, Andrew, this one is about half the size of a football field, and it was spotted about a year ago, so we knew this one was coming, and we knew that, although it was a close call, that it wasn't going to hit the Earth. And the astronomers are excited about it because it's almost like a free space mission. We've sent robots out to asteroids to see what they're like at great expense, but this one came to us. So the telescopes were looking at it as it went by, and NASA's going to be bouncing radar off it later on as it leaves the Earth to try to get a sense of what its shape is like and how it's moving. And these things are just all part of the debris that surrounds our solar system as the Earth plows through space. And we're always running into something, but most of it's very, very small. It's unusual to have two moderate-sized ones go by on the same day.
And it was in our satellite ring, right? So in the
Within
area
the
where there are lots of satellites. Mm-hmm.
That's correct. Some of our geostationary satellites, like the ones that carry television signals that are carrying you and I around the world right now, those are out at 36,000 kilometers away from the Earth, and this one came within that. It was at 27,000, almost 10,000 kilometers closer, but not as close as Chris Hadfield on the space station is. He's only at 400 kilometers up, so it was nowhere near him, and he was never in danger. Either was the Earth, and either were any of the satellites. But it was a close call. It
was a close call. So let's talk a little bit about what would have happened had that asteroid hit Earth.
Well, I like to think of, if you look at what happened this morning, we sort of got a demonstration of what happens when an object comes in. The one that struck in Russia this morning was about the size of a dump truck. And you could see the trail that it left across the sky. It did an air burst. It exploded at about 32,000 feet in the air, and basically ran into our atmosphere like it was running into a brick wall. Just like a truck hitting a wall will get compressed. The front end will get pushed towards the back end, and the whole thing gets flattened. That's what happened to this truck-sized asteroid this morning. It got flattened. That put a huge amount of stress on it, generated a tremendous amount of heat, plus the air around it was heated up to thousands of degrees, and shock waves were produced. And the whole thing created an explosion in the air. And then we saw the debris continue on in that long contrail. You see how the contrail started narrow, then got wide, and then got narrow again because the thing was disintegrating. Well, if the object that went by this afternoon, which is the size of, like I said, half the size of a football field hit, you'd get the same effect, except the blast would do more than break windows. It would be the equivalent of a nuclear blast, and that city that was underneath there would have been just totally annihilated.
Unbelievable. Just one quick question for you. Just how rare is it for a meteor to cause the kind of damage that it did? Now, we understand there were 1,000 injuries, but they don't sound like they were all that serious. But still, I mean, shattering windows, and we're seeing, some of these images that are we just don't usually see.
Yeah, well, the windows were shattered because this thing was come in at supersonic speed, so a fighter jet could do something similar if it went by at supersonic speed at a very low level. People were killed by or hurt by the glass. But it is very, very rare to be hit by large objects. The Earth is actually quite a small target, and space is really large. Plus, most of the Earth is covered in ocean. So when we do get hit by things like this, they tend to come down over water or over deserts. It's very, very rare to have them come down over a city. But you never know. We don't see these mid-sized objects coming. We don't have a lot of warning. But we just got to keep our heads up.
And we're thankful that we think everyone is more or less okay. Bob, good to talk to you. Bob McDonald, host of Quirks and Quarks, speaking from Victoria.